Jin stood tall and straight in his crisp blue uniform. His face showed no emotion as the alien council members stared at him. He was the first human diplomat to speak to the Galactic Council, and he knew how important this day was. The human delegation thanks the Council for this chance to join your great alliance, Jin said, bowing slightly. The massive hall sparkled with light that bounced off crystal walls. Hundreds of alien species sat in rising tiers around a central platform. Some had scales, others had fur. Some floated in bubbles of liquid, while others wore special suits to breathe. High Counselor Tekka of the Varathi rose from his seat. He was 3 meters tall with skin like polished stone and 4 glowing eyes. The Varathi were one of the oldest and most powerful species in the galaxy. The Council recognizes Earth, Tekka said, his voice deep and echoing, though we question if humans are truly ready to join advanced species. Jin's brother Day stood behind him, scanning the room with sharp eyes. As former Special Forces, he now served as security for the human team. His hand rested near his hip, though weapons were forbidden in the council chamber. Our scientists have studied your biology, Tekka continued. Humans are inefficient. Your bodies waste energy. Your emotions cloud your judgment. Your technology is basic. Jin smiled politely. We may be young compared to the Varathi, but humans have much to offer. Our adaptability is our strength. A ripple of quiet laughter moved through the council. Moran, the human xenobiologist with short black hair and intense eyes, stepped forward with data tablets. If I may, she said, humans have accomplished in 500 years what took most species thousands. Our faster-than-light drive uses half the energy of standard council models. Tekka waved a stone-like hand. Primitive luck, not skill. The council has voted. Humans will receive probationary membership only. You will follow strict rules. Jin nodded, though his jaw tightened slightly. We accept these terms with gratitude. Your kind will wear physical dampeners at all times, Tekka said. Human strength and speed must be limited for the safety of all. Day frowned but remained silent. The thin metal bands they had been given upon arrival suddenly made sense. They weren't jewelry, they were leashes. Further, Tekka continued, humans must remain in designated areas and request permission for all movement around the station. After the meeting, the human team gathered in their small quarters. The room was too cold, the lights too bright, and the air had a strange metallic smell. They treat us like children, Day said, pacing. Or dangerous animals. Jin removed his formal jacket. We expected this. Humans are new, unknown. Miran was studying the air with a small device. Something isn't right. The oxygen levels keep dropping. That's why I've had headaches since we arrived, said Jin. Is it a system problem? Miran shook her head. The readings show someone is adjusting it manually. This is deliberate. Day's eyes narrowed. The Varathi want us to fail. Jin held up a hand. We need proof before making accusations. A soft chime announced a visitor. The door slid open to reveal a small, blue-skinned alien with large eyes. Counselor Reza of the Tellurians, Jin said with a bow. Welcome. Reza glanced around nervously. I should not be here, but I came to warn you. Some council members, especially the Varathi, fear humans. Fear us? Jin asked. We've shown only respect. Your species adapted too quickly, Reza said. Most races take thousands of years to develop what you achieved in centuries. The Varathi believe if you join the council as equals, humans will soon dominate. Miran held up her device. Is that why our quarters have reduced oxygen? Reza's large eyes widened. I was not aware of this. This violates council law. We need to report this, Jin said. The Varathi control most committees, Reza warned. Your complaint would be dismissed. After Reza left, Jin called an emergency meeting with the human team. 20 diplomats, scientists, and security personnel crowded into the main room. We must appear cooperative while gathering evidence, Jin told them. The council expects us to act emotionally, to get angry. We will not give them that satisfaction. 3 days later, 5 human diplomats fell ill. Sook, the medical officer, confirmed oxygen deprivation and trace amounts of silicon-based compounds harmful to humans. "This is sabotage," Day insisted. "We should demand justice." Jin shook his head. "Not yet. Miran, do we have proof?" Miran nodded. "I placed hidden sensors. They recorded Varathi engineers accessing our environmental controls." Jin compiled the evidence and requested a council hearing. When the day came, High Counselor Tekka dismissed them before Jin could even present his case. "Human equipment is faulty," Tekka announced. "Your sensors are not calibrated to council standards. Your complaints are denied." Jin maintained his diplomatic smile, though his fists clenched at his sides. "We respectfully request independent verification." "Denied," Tekka said. "The council has more important matters. In fact, we will soon hold our ceremonial tournament of physical merit. All species will demonstrate their evolutionary advantages." Several Varathi counselors laughed. One whispered loudly, "The humans will show us what? How well they sweat." Jin bowed again. "Humans will be honored to participate." As they left the chambers, Day watched the Varathi delegation. "They're planning something." "I know," Jin said quietly. "But they understand strength and competition. Perhaps in the tournament we can show them what humans are truly capable of." That night, as most humans slept, Miran continued monitoring their quarters. She noticed a new gas entering through the ventilation system and quickly woke the others. "Everyone, out," she shouted. "They're pumping something toxic into our rooms." The human delegation evacuated to emergency chambers. When Jin reported this new incident, Tekka blamed a routine maintenance error. "How convenient," Day muttered. Jin faced his team, their faces tired but determined. "The tournament begins tomorrow. The Varathi think we'll embarrass ourselves. They believe humans are weak." He looked at each person in turn. "Let's show them how wrong they are." Day nodded, a rare smile crossing his face. "They have no idea what humans can do when pushed too far." As the lights of the station dimmed to simulate night, the human delegation prepared for the coming challenge. Unknown to them, High Counselor Tekka was meeting with his top enforcers. "The humans are becoming a problem," Tekka said. "The tournament will give us the perfect opportunity to demonstrate their inferiority to the entire council." "And if they perform better than expected?" asked an enforcer. Tekka's stone face showed no emotion, but his 4 eyes glowed brighter. "Then we ensure they don't perform at all, permanently." The grand arena of physical merit was massive. Its ceiling opened to the stars and its floors could change to any terrain. Today, thousands of aliens filled the seats, their voices creating a constant buzz. Jin led the human delegation to their small waiting area. Unlike other species who had large, comfortable spaces, the humans got a tight corner with hard benches. "They really want us to feel unwelcome," Miran said, checking her equipment. Hyun, the team's engineer, grinned as he tinkered with a small device. "At least we have the best view of the arena." Hyun was new to the delegation. He had short, messy hair and quick hands. He always smiled even when things were bad. The others liked having him around. "Remember," Jin said to everyone, "we don't need to win. We just need to show that humans belong here." A loud sound echoed through the arena, and a voice announced, "The tournament of physical merit begins. All species will demonstrate their evolutionary advantages." The first events highlighted each alien species' special abilities. The rocky Varathi lifted enormous weights. The bird-like Aklari flew through complex patterns. The water-dwelling Morosa created beautiful shapes with liquid. "Humans next," the announcer said with a tone that suggested boredom. "They will attempt the basic strength test." Day stepped forward. The crowd went quiet, expecting little from the small, soft human. The test was simple: pull a weighted bar upward. The Varathi champion had lifted it to level 8. No one expected Day to reach even level 3. Day gripped the bar. His dampener bands glowed brightly, limiting his strength. Even so, he took a deep breath, planted his feet, and pulled. Level 3. then 4, then 5. Murmurs spread through the crowd. Day's face turned red with effort, but he kept pulling until he reached level 6 before the dampeners forced him to stop. Impossible, High Counselor Tekka said from his special box. Check the weights. Officials rushed to verify the equipment. Finding nothing wrong, they reluctantly announced Day's score. Some aliens clapped politely. Others looked confused. Next came the agility course. Hyun volunteered, his eyes bright with excitement. The course requires participants to navigate changing terrain, the announcer explained. The Aklari hold the record at 47 seconds. Hyun stood at the starting line. When the signal sounded, he ran forward as the floor shifted beneath him. Rocks rose, pits opened, and walls appeared suddenly. With the dampeners limiting his speed, Hyun had to rely on quick thinking. He jumped, rolled, and squeezed through narrow spaces. When faced with an impossible climb, he found a different path. When blocked by water, he used a piece of debris as a float. 1 minute, 20 seconds, the announcer said when Hyun finished. Not remarkable, but adequate. Counselor Reza, watching from the mid-level seats, leaned toward her assistant. The humans are adapting to each obstacle. Fascinating. By midday, humans had participated in 5 events. They won none, but performed much better than expected. The crowd's attitude was changing from mockery to curiosity. Tekka was not pleased. He summoned his top enforcer, Vek, to his private chamber. The humans are making us look foolish, Tekka hissed. They should be failing completely. Vek bowed his stone head. The dampeners limit their physical abilities, but they use their minds to compensate. Then we need a challenge where even their minds cannot help them, Tekka said. Modify the final event. After a short break, Jin requested a meeting with the tournament officials. Humans would like to propose a special event, Jin said. An environmental adaptability test. Explain, said the head official, a tall, thin alien with translucent skin. A course with multiple terrains. Heat, cold, water, heights, darkness. Participants must navigate all environments without specialized equipment. The official looked surprised. Most species cannot survive in mixed environments without their natural adaptations. That is exactly our point, Jin said with a small smile. Human adaptability is our evolutionary advantage. After discussion, the council approved the event. An hour later, the arena transformed into sections: a blazing desert, a freezing tundra, a deep water pool, a high climbing wall, and a pitch-black maze. Each species may select their champion, the announcer said. They must complete all 5 environments. Many species opted out entirely. The Varathi, however, sent forward their champion, Cord. 8 feet tall with rippling stone muscles, he looked unbeatable. Hyun stepped forward for the humans. I grew up swimming and climbing, he told Jin, and I'm good with the cold. The race began. Cord moved quickly through the desert zone, his rocky skin unaffected by heat. Hyun sweated but kept a steady pace. In the cold zone, Cord slowed as ice formed on his joints. Hyun, though shivering, maintained his speed. The water section caused Cord serious trouble. His dense body sank, forcing him to walk across the bottom. Hyun swam smoothly, taking the lead. On the climbing wall, they were evenly matched. But as they entered the dark maze, something strange happened. Security barriers that should have been inactive sparked with energy. Something's wrong, Miran said, checking her sensors. Those barriers are fully charged. Before Jin could alert the officials, Hyun turned a corner in the maze and walked directly into an active barrier. The crowd gasped as electricity coursed through his body. He collapsed instantly. Medical emergency, Jin shouted, but Varathi guards blocked the human medical team. Council medics will handle this, one said coldly. Day pushed forward. He's our teammate. We need to help him now. The guards pushed Day back, their stone hands rough. Jin stepped between them. This is a violation of tournament safety protocols, Jin said, keeping his voice calm despite his anger. Those barriers were deliberately activated. High Counselor Tekka appeared. Unfortunate accidents happen in competition, The human clearly triggered a security system. That's a lie, Moran said, holding up her sensor device. The barriers were activated remotely. I recorded the signal. Tekka waved dismissively. Human devices are unreliable. The council will investigate. Finally, Suk and her medical team were allowed to reach Hyun. They carried him quickly to the human medical bay. His injuries are severe, Suk reported later. Burns, heart damage, nerve trauma. He needs advanced treatment. Jin filed formal complaints, but council bureaucracy moved slowly. Days passed with no response. Meanwhile, Hyun's condition worsened. Day spent hours watching security recordings. Look, he told Jin, pointing to footage from before the accident. Vorathi engineers accessed the maze controls. We need more proof, Jin said, and we need to be careful. The Vorathi are watching us closely now. That evening, Ambassador Lant from the Vrex Confederacy visited the human quarters. The tall reptilian diplomat looked around nervously before speaking. I have information, Lant whispered. Tekka ordered the barriers activated. He wants to eliminate humans from the council. Jin's eyes widened. Why are you telling us this? My species was once treated as you are, Lant said. We believe in justice. As Lant left, Day turned to Jin. This is no longer about diplomacy. They tried to kill Hyun. They're trying to kill all of us. Jin looked at his brother's fierce expression. I still need to try peaceful methods first, but, he added quietly, be ready. If diplomacy fails, we may need your special skills. In the Vorathi chambers, Tekka gathered his supporters. The humans survived our first attempt. Next time we'll leave nothing to chance. In the human medical bay, machines beeped steadily. Hyun lay still on a bed, his skin pale. Tubes ran from his arms to various devices. His chest rose and fell in a slow rhythm. Suk, the chief medical officer, checked his vital signs for the 10th time that hour. Her face was tired, with dark circles under her eyes. She hadn't slept properly in 3 days. Any change? Jin asked from the doorway. Suk shook her head. His body is fighting, but there's damage to his nervous system and... She hesitated. And, what? I found something strange in his blood. Suk showed Jin a scan. This isn't just from electrical burns. There was a toxic substance on the barrier. It was meant to kill, not just injure. Jin's face hardened. You're sure? Completely. This is deliberate poisoning. Jin left the medical bay and found Day in their quarters, studying security footage. The Vorathi tried to murder Hyun, Jin said quietly. Suk found poison in his system. Day's hands clenched. We need to leave the station. Now. We can't, Jin replied. I tried to contact Captain Tyke on our ship. All communications are blocked. The Vorathi claim it's a technical issue. It's a trap, Day said. They're isolating us. Jin nodded. I'm going to file another formal complaint with evidence of the poisoning. Can you secretly get a message to Captain Tyke? He needs to be ready if things get worse. That afternoon, Jin went to the council administration office. He waited for hours as aliens of all types were served ahead of him. Finally, a board official took his complaint form. This will be processed in standard time, the official said. 14 council days. This is an emergency, Jin insisted. A human was deliberately poisoned. The official blinked slowly. All complaints follow procedure. 14 days. As Jin left, frustrated, he noticed Vorathi guards following him. They kept their distance but watched his every move. More guards were posted outside the human quarters. Inside, Miran was scanning for listening devices. They've added more, she whispered, pointing to tiny dots on her scanner. Our rooms are completely monitored now. Can you block them? Jin asked. Some, but not all. We have to assume everything we say is heard. Jin wrote on a paper, meet in Recycling Chamber 3. 1 hour. The recycling chamber was loud with machinery and one of the few places without monitors. The human delegation gathered there, speaking in hushed voices despite the noise. We have 3 problems, Jin explained. First, we can't contact our ship. Second, Hyun was poisoned, and the council won't investigate. Third, we're being watched. Constantly. There's a fourth problem, Moran added. I found these in the station database. She showed them images of biological samples labeled human and Varathi bioweapon research. They're developing weapons specifically designed to kill humans, she said. These files were poorly protected. I think they wanted me to find them. As a warning. Day's expression darkened. This isn't politics anymore. This is preparation for war. Jin shook his head. We can't prove the Varathi leadership is behind this. We need concrete evidence before the full council. I might have a solution, said a voice from the shadows. Everyone turned in surprise. Ambassador Lant stepped forward, his reptilian scales reflecting the dim light. You're taking a big risk coming here, Jin said. Lant nodded. The Varathi have called for a special council session tomorrow. They plan to vote on removing humans from the council entirely. On what grounds? Jin asked. They claim humans are dangerous and unstable. They're using recordings of Day arguing with guards as evidence, and they've edited the footage to make it look worse. Can you help us? Jin asked. I can ensure you. Get a chance to speak before the vote, Lant said. But you'll need convincing evidence. The Varathi control many votes. After Lant left, the humans made their plans. Jin would prepare a final appeal to the council. Miran would gather all evidence of Varathi sabotage. Dai would try to get a message to Captain Tayek. That night, as most of the stations slept, Enforcer Vek met with High Counselor Tekka. The humans are more resilient than expected, Vek reported. Their injured one still lives. Then we must accelerate our plans, Tekka said. Is everything ready for tomorrow? Yes, High Counselor. While the human diplomat makes his futile appeal, my teams will secure their medical bay and ship. No human will leave this station alive. Good. The Council will thank us when they see the danger humans pose to galactic peace. The next morning, Jin dressed in his formal uniform. He looked tired but determined. Remember, he told Day, no matter what happens in there, stay calm. That's what they want, for us to act emotional and prove their point. Day nodded, though his eyes were hard. I'll try. The council chamber was packed. All 200 species had representatives present for this special session. Jin and Dee stood on the central platform surrounded by Varathi security. High Counselor Tekka rose. We gather today to address a serious threat to council safety. Humans have demonstrated unstable behavior, violent tendencies, and disrespect for council authority. Large screens showed doctored footage of Dee arguing with guards, making him appear far more aggressive than he had been. Furthermore, Tekka continued, humans have made false accusations against the Varathi. They claim we sabotaged their quarters and injured their teammate. These are lies meant to hide their own incompetence. Jin stepped forward. High Counselor, we have evidence. You will speak when permitted, Tekka interrupted. The Council will now vote on Resolution 7723, the immediate removal of humans from the Galactic Council and the confiscation of human faster-than-light technology for safety reasons. Ambassador Lant rose from his seat. Point of order. All species have the right to defend themselves before a vote. That is council law. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Tekka's 4 eyes narrowed, but he couldn't deny Lant's point. Very well. The human may speak briefly. Jin took a deep breath and addressed the council. Honored representatives, the Varathi have not just discriminated against humans. They have actively tried to harm us. He displayed Suk's medical scans, showing the poison in Hyun's blood. This is not from a simple accident. This was attempted murder. The council erupted in shocked whispers. Jin continued, showing Moran's evidence of environmental tampering in the human quarters and the tournament sabotage. Unknown to Jin, at that exact moment, Varathi commandos led by Enforcer Vek were moving through the station toward the human medical bay. Suk was checking Hyun's vitals when her assistant ran in. Security alert. The system shows armed Varathi heading this way. Suk quickly pressed an emergency button hidden under Hyun's bed. In the council chamber, Moran's communicator vibrated silently. She glanced at it, then passed a note to Day. His face paled as he read, Attack on Medical Bay. Yoon and Suk in danger. Day's heart began to pound. He looked at Jin, still speaking calmly to the council, then at the exit where more Varathi guards now stood. As Jin finished presenting his evidence, the chamber doors burst open. Enforcer Vec entered with a squad of guards. "High Counselor," Vec announced, "we have discovered human plotting devices in restricted areas. They are planning to attack the council." "This is absurd," Jin protested. "Silence," Tekka shouted. "Guards, detain the humans immediately." Varathi guards surrounded Jin and grabbed his arms. The council watched in shock. "This is a setup," Jin said, maintaining his composure even as he was restrained. "Ask yourselves why the Varathi fear humans so much." Day stood frozen, torn between helping his brother and rushing to save Suk and Hyan. Then his communicator buzzed again with a new message. Hyun's life support disabled. Something changed in Day's eyes. His pupils widened, his breathing quickened. Under his skin, veins began to stand out as his heart rate tripled. A Varathi guard noticed and stepped toward him. "The other human is acting strange. Restrain him too." But Day wasn't listening anymore. In his mind, something ancient and powerful was awakening, something the aliens had never seen before. The council chamber fell silent as everyone stared at Day. His face had changed. His normally calm eyes now burned with an intensity that made even the Varathi guards step back. "Restrain that human now," Tekka ordered. 2 guards moved toward Day. The dampener bands on his wrists and ankles glowed brightly as they tried to limit his physical abilities. But something was happening that the alien technology hadn't been designed to stop. Throughout human history, people had spoken of warriors who could enter a state of battle rage so powerful that they felt no pain and showed strength beyond normal limits. The Vikings called them berserkers. Other cultures had different names. It was a survival mechanism buried deep in human DNA, triggered only in moments of extreme danger or when loved ones were threatened. Dai was entering that state now. "Brother," Jin called, seeing the change. "Don't," but it was too late. As a guard reached for him, Day moved with shocking speed. His hand shot out, grabbed the guard's arm, and with a twist, sent the much larger alien crashing to the floor. The council erupted in chaos. Species that had never seen humans fight watched, in shock as Day disabled a second guard with precise strikes to joints and pressure points. "The dampeners aren't working," someone shouted. "Security breach," Tekka yelled into his communicator. "All units to the council chamber." Across the station, Captain Tyke was working frantically to restore communications with Earth. His ship, the diplomatic vessel Hope, had been cut off from all contact for days. The young officer at the communication station looked up with wide eyes. "Captain, I'm picking up an emergency signal from inside the station. It's using old Earth military code." Tyke rushed over. The signal was simple but clear. "Humans in danger. Coup attempt. Medical Bay under attack." "Battle stations," Tech ordered. "Prepare boarding teams, we're going in." Back in the council chamber, Jin was trying to calm the situation even as guards held him. "Please, everyone stay calm, this is a misunderstanding." But no one was listening. All eyes were on Dai, who stood in a fighting stance as more guards surrounded him. "Look at this display of human violence," Tekka shouted to the council. "This proves everything we've claimed." Dai's voice was low and controlled when he spoke. "My friend is dying because of you. My brother is being held on false charges. I'm going to the medical bay now. Anyone who tries to stop me will regret it. You see?" Tekka pointed dramatically. "Open threats. Humans are too dangerous to join civilized species." Counselor Reza stood up from her seat. "What about the evidence Jin presented? The poisoning? The sabotage?" "Fabrications," Tekka dismissed. "Guards, take both humans to detention." As guards moved in again, Day's restraint broke. He moved with fluid grace that seemed impossible for a creature so small compared to the Varathi. Each movement was economical and devastatingly effective. Where a Varathi would use brute force, Day used the guards' own momentum against them. The council watched in stunned silence as Day disabled 4 more guards without even appearing to strain himself. The dampeners on his limbs were now glowing red-hot as they failed to contain his capabilities. Station security, lock down all corridors leading to the medical bay, Tekka ordered into his communicator. That confirmed what Day needed to know. With sudden decision, he sprinted toward the exit. "Stop him," Tekka shouted. But Day was already moving too fast. He broke through the line of guards and disappeared into the corridor. In the medical bay, Suk was fighting her own battle. She had barricaded the doors, but Varathi commandos were cutting through. Hyun's life support systems had been remotely disabled, and she was manually keeping him alive with emergency equipment. "Hold on, Hyun," she said, even though he couldn't hear her. "Help is coming." The young enforcer Gento stood at the back of the Varathi commando team, watching uneasily as they cut through the medical bay doors. He had joined the enforcers believing he would protect the council. Now he was attacking doctors and injured people. "This isn't right," he said to his commander. "Orders are orders," the commander replied without looking at him. "The humans are a threat." "An unconscious patient is a threat?" Gento asked. The commander turned to him. "Are you questioning High Counselor Tekka?" Gento fell silent, but doubt filled his mind. Meanwhile, security footage of Day fighting his way through the station was being broadcast to screens throughout the facility. Aliens of all species watched in amazement as the human, despite injuries from energy weapons, continued to move forward. In the council chamber, Ambassador Lant had moved to Jin's side. "Your brother is quite impressive," Lant said quietly. "He's going to get himself killed," Jin replied, struggling against his restraints. Lant leaned closer. "Not if we expose the truth first." He slipped something into Jin's pocket. "Evidence of the Varathi bioweapon program. I'll create a distraction. Be ready." Before Jin could ask questions, Lant stepped forward and addressed the council. "Esteemed members, we are witnessing a violation of our most sacred laws. The Varathi have attacked an injured being in medical care." Tekka's 4 eyes blazed with anger. "You dare accuse—" "I more than dare," Lant continued. "I have proof. The Vrex Confederacy has been monitoring Varathi communications. We know about the bioweapon program aimed at humans." The council chamber erupted again. As guards moved toward Lant, he pressed a button on his wrist device. The lights in the chamber flickered, and Jin's restraints suddenly deactivated. Jin quickly pulled out the data crystal Lant had given him and inserted it into the central council display system. Immediately, screens around the chamber began showing classified Varathi documents and laboratory footage. "These are Varathi research facilities," Jin explained quickly. "They've been developing weapons specifically designed to attack human biology. The poison that nearly killed Hyun was just the first test. The evidence was undeniable. Images of Varathi scientists working with human DNA samples, testing compounds on tissue samples, and reports marked Human Extinction Protocol appeared on every screen." In the corridor leading to the medical bay, Day faced a locked security door. His communication device buzzed with a message from Moran: "Alternate route through maintenance shaft 7B." Following her directions, Day crawled through narrow passages never meant for beings his size. His body was operating beyond normal human limits now. Cuts and burns from security systems barely registered in his mind. His entire focus was reaching Hyun and Suk before it was too late. Just as the Varathi commandos finished cutting through the medical bay doors, alarms began blaring throughout the station. Captain Tak's voice came over the emergency system. "This is Captain Tak of the Earth vessel Hope. We have disabled the communications blockade and contacted Earth authorities. Armed personnel are boarding the station. All hostilities against human delegates must cease immediately." In the medical bay, the Varathi commander hesitated. "Continue as planned," he finally ordered. "Once the humans are dead, they can't prove anything." But as the doors fell open, young enforcer Gento made his decision. He stepped between the commandos and the doorway. "This is wrong," he said firmly. "I won't let you harm defenseless people." "Move or die with the humans," the commander threatened. Gento stood his ground. "We are supposed to protect, not murder. The High Counselor has betrayed our principles." Before the commander could respond, a sound came from the ceiling vent above them. The grate burst open, and Day dropped into the room, landing between the Varathi team in the doorway where Gento stood. The Varathi stared in shock. The human's dampeners had burned out completely. His eyes were focused with terrifying intensity. Despite multiple injuries, he moved as if he felt no pain at all. The bow. Commander raised his weapon. Kill them both! Time seemed to slow down in the medical bay. The Varathi commander's weapon hummed as it charged. Behind Day, Enforcer Gento braced himself for impact. Inside the medical bay, Suk worked frantically to keep Hyun alive. What happened next would be studied by alien scientists for years to come. Day moved. To the Varathi, it appeared as though the human blurred. One moment he was standing still. The next he had crossed the space between them. The commander fired, but Day was no longer where he had been. The energy blast hit the wall, leaving a smoking hole. Impossible, one commando gasped. Day struck, with precision and overwhelming force. His first blow knocked the weapon from the commander's hands. His second sent the much larger alien stumbling backward. The commandos fired wildly, but Day was moving too fast, weaving between them. Throughout the station, security cameras captured the scene. Aliens of all species watched in disbelief as a single human faced off against a full Varathi combat team. In the council chamber, the screens showed both Day's fight and the evidence of Varathi bioweapons. The council members could no longer deny what was happening. The human's heart rate is 3 times normal, a medical officer reported, reading data from the station's sensors. Body temperature elevated, adrenaline levels off the charts. What are we seeing? A council member asked in wonder. Ambassador Lant stepped forward. It's called going berserk, an ancient human survival mechanism. They evolved as persistence predators with an emergency override system. On the screen, Day had disabled 3 more commandos. He moved with a fluid grace that seemed impossible for his injured body. Each strike targeted vulnerable joints or pressure points, using the Varathi's size and strength against them. The more you threaten them, Lant continued, the more dangerous humans become. Their bodies can push past normal limitations when survival is at stake. In the medical bay, Gento had joined Day in fighting the commandos. Together they pushed forward, creating a path to the inner room where Suk protected Hyun. Get to your friend, Gento told Day. I'll hold them here. Day nodded and broke through to the inner room. Suk looked up, relief washing over her tired face. The life support is failing, she said. I can't keep him stable much longer. Outside the medical bay, more Varathi security forces were arriving. Gento wouldn't be able to hold them off for long. In the council chamber, Jin had taken control of the situation. With Ambassador Lant's help, he addressed the full council. The evidence is clear, Jin said, pointing to the screens. High Counselor Tekka authorized illegal weapons development against a council member species. He ordered attacks on diplomatic personnel. This is not just a crime against humans, but against the council itself. Across the chamber, Counselor Reza spoke up. I move for the immediate removal of Tekka from his position and a full investigation of all Varathi actions against humans. Second, called out representatives from a dozen species. Tekka's 4 eyes darted around the room looking for allies. Finding none, he reached for a hidden communicator on his wrist. Activate final protocol, he hissed into the device. Throughout the station, alarms blared. A computerized voice announced, emergency purge initiated in human sectors. 3 minutes to atmospheric venting. Jin's eyes widened in horror. He's trying to kill all humans on the station. Meanwhile, Captain Tyke and his security team had boarded the station. They moved quickly through the corridors, following the tracker signals from the human delegation's communicators. Life signs dropping in the medical bay, a crew member reported, and there's some kind of atmospheric purge starting. Override it, Tyke ordered. Hack into their systems if you have to. In the medical bay, Day heard the alarm. What's happening? He asked Suk. They're venting the air, she replied, checking monitors. We have less than 3 minutes. Outside, Gento was overwhelmed by reinforcements. He was thrown into the room, battered and bruised. More coming, he warned. Day looked around the room. There was no way out except through the door, now blocked by Varathi forces. They couldn't move Hyun in his condition. They were trapped. Something changed in Day's eyes. The controlled focus of his earlier fighting shifted into something more primal. His pupils dilated fully. Veins stood out on his neck and arms. His breathing became deep and rhythmic. This wasn't just the trained fighting of before. This was true berserker rage. Day moved to the doorway and let out a roar that echoed down the corridor. The sound was so unexpected, so primal, that the advancing Varathi paused. Then Day attacked. In the council chamber, all eyes were on the screens showing the medical bay. What they witnessed was beyond their understanding of human capabilities. Day threw himself into the mass of Varathi enforcers. Where before he had used precision and technique, now he used raw power and speed. Each blow sent stone-skinned aliens flying. Energy weapons fired, scoring hits on his body, but he didn't slow down. He should be unconscious from pain alone, a medical officer said in disbelief. Humans can temporarily shut down pain receptors during extreme stress, Lant explained. They evolved as both predator and prey on a dangerous world. This is what happens when you corner them. Jin watched, his brother fight with mixed pride and concern. We need to stop the purge, he reminded the council. People will die. Councilor Reza took command. Security override authorization Reza Prime. Cancel atmospheric purge in all sectors. The computer voice announced. Override accepted. Purge cancelled. In the corridor outside the medical bay, Day had created a path through the Varathi forces. Captain Take and his team arrived just in time to see the last enforcers retreat. Status? Take asked, staring at Day in shock. Day stood breathing heavily, his body covered in burns and cuts, but still standing. The berserker rage was fading. From his eyes as the immediate threat passed. Hyun needs emergency medical care, Day said, his voice hoarse. And Tekka tried to kill everyone. Tekka is being detained, Tek reported. Jin exposed everything to the council. Medical teams rushed in to stabilize Hyun for transport to the Earthship. As the crisis subsided, Day's body finally registered the damage it had taken. He collapsed, caught by Tek's security team. 1 week later, the full Galactic Council convened again. This time, Jin stood at the central platform, not as a supplicant, but as an equal. Beside him was Day, recovered but still showing signs of his ordeal. The Council officially extends full membership status to Earth, announced the new acting leader, an elderly Tellurian. We also offer our deepest apologies for the actions of Tekka and his supporters. Jin bowed. Earth accepts your apology, and you're welcome. We have one question, said a council member. The human capability to go berserk. Is this common among your kind? Jin glanced at his brother before answering. All humans have this potential when pushed to extremes. It's not something we use lightly. It comes at great physical cost, as my brother can attest. Murmurs spread through the chamber. But what truly makes humans strong isn't our berserker ability, Jin continued. It's that we choose not to use it except when there is no other option. We prefer cooperation, diplomacy, and peace. We hope the Council now understands both sides of humanity. In the medical bay of the Earthship, Hyun opened his eyes for the first time since the accident. Suk smiled down at him. Welcome back, she said. You missed quite a show. What happened? Hyun asked weakly. The aliens learned an important lesson, Suk replied. Never underestimate humans, especially when you threaten those they care about. In the Council records, a new entry was made that day. Humans, deceptively fragile in appearance, remarkably adaptable, approach with respect. If they display signs of the berserker state, retreat immediately and seek peaceful resolution. And so humanity took its place among the stars, no longer seen as weak or primitive. The aliens had learned that the very emotions they once mocked were the source of human strength, not just the ability to go berserk, but the compassion and loyalty that triggered it. As Jin told the Council in his closing remarks, judge us not by our size or by our technology, but by the lengths we will go to protect what we love. That is the true measure of humanity.